Havdalla.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem.
So tired. Oh my God, I'm so tired.
You want to come and join me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down.
Okay. So we're starting now the Havdalla, Shavua Tov. We're going from a Shabbos, a beautiful Shabbos, right into Gimel Tammuz, into the night, the day of the Rebbe's yard site, and the special power of the day. El Yeshua fi Ki yaziv zimras yadinoy vaye Yeshua she'aftamayim Esasayin mi mayene ya Yeshua Ladoyino ya Yeshua
Good, Sylvia.
Chose lo adinoy tzevois Imanu mizgav lanu eleyakoy selo Adonai tzvois ashrei adam ba Yahweh Adonai Yoshia Hamelech Aneinu ve'yoim Kareinu Vayehudim haisa vayirav v'sigim chavisa v'asayin v'ikar kenti alanu kaisa shuaisa esa v'shem Adonai ekra sabrim aranan Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam beirei pri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam beirei bnei b'samim Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam beirei bnei haolam Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil b'kodesh l'chaol v'noher l'chaydsha b'Yisrael amim ben yoyim hashvi l'sheishes yemei ha'maaseh Baruch atah Adonai hamavdil b'kodesh l'chaol I'm going to put out the candle and the wine that we made the blessing, kosher bracha, and take from it for all of us for wisdom, livelihood, parnasa, for all powerful things that we need, happiness, health, personal blessings that we need in our life, that we should have it fully and completely. We'll make the bracha achrona. Then we'll go to the story. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Al ha'gefen pri hagafen. Adur tasal le'etchem tebel chavesh. Etzizom chad lavashem lachavim b'yom zbeim tzavar. Achem nalei shalom achavai shleim recha vatzim mishkan kvedecha v'amdecha chavalei chalecha. Nei shleim recha jmein aleinu zachar zachem b'maracha dusha v'tara. Ki atah Adonai tev meti l'chavim l'chol. Ha'eretz v'pri hagafen. Baruch Adonai al ha'eretz v'pri hagafen. Shavua tov, everyone. As we said, we're going tonight, and right now is the yard site of the Rebbe. As we spoke today earlier, it's actually the same day of the week that it was when it happened 27 years ago, Saturday night. And I remember so vividly, about 12:30 a.m., we got the call, like many Hasidim and many around the world, about the unthinkable that the Rebbe had passed, and how we jumped into the car. We had some girls who were staying in our basement at that time, jumped in with us. We made the trek to New York to be there for the moment of the funeral and beforehand. And so tonight I want to dedicate to the Rebbe, and there's so many stories to tell about the Rebbe. And I just saw a story because it's not just about miracle, the telling miracles, and there are many, many miracle stories to tell about the Rebbe. For all of the Rebbe's years of leadership, and even before he became Rebbe, about blessings that occurred. But the biggest story of the Rebbe is really his care and concern for every Jew. And not only did the Rebbe have care and concern for every Jew, but the Rebbe tried to get others involved to be part of helping other Jews. And the story goes, there was a Hasidic artist, his name was Rabbi Handel Lieberman. Handel Lieberman came from Russia, a very Hasidic family. His brother was a very well-known Chassid, Mendel Futterfatz. But he was a very talented artist. And though he was a Hasidic fellow with a lively and incredible insight, and feeling a Hasidic feeling that that was around him, the aura around him. But he was an incredible artist, and he drew and he used to sell his art. So once there was an art show happening, and the Rebbe told him, he'd come out of Russia after the war, etc. And the Rebbe told him that he should join the art show happening in another city. And the Rebbe said specifically, don't stay in the main hotel where the show is happening, stay in another hotel, the hotel next to it. Unusual request. The Rebbe getting involved in which hotel he should stay. It's not the norm of what happened. But he listened and he signed up to be an artist at the display, and he went to the show and he went to the hotel, and he had a pretty good show. His art was very unusual, and especially as a man with the long beard and a really religious Jew drawing, it attracted a lot of attention. But really, he didn't spend all day long in the art gallery. He used to pray. He spent a lot of times praying and studying all these things he used to study. And like the first day of the show, he gets a knock on his door. He opens the door, and there's a fellow there, a fellow he recognized. He came by his booth, and the fellow said, "Do you have a pair of tefillin?" So he was a little shocked. This guy didn't look Jewish. He interacted with him by his booth, by his art. Didn't give any impression of being anything Jewish. Now that's for a pair of tefillin. For who? But he said, sure. And he gave him his talis and tefillin. And the guy left. He was a little curious what's going on. He took a walk down the hallway. He recognized that this guy was staying next to him in the hotel. He took a walk down the hallway, and he passed by the room where this guy was staying, and he heard noise coming out of the room. He went to the door, he put his ear to the door, and he heard sobbing and crying. He heard a person praying. He was saying, wow, this guy is Jewish. He took the tefillin for himself. Anyways, an hour later, this Jew came back to his room and gave him back the tefillin. The next day, he asked again for the tefillin, and again, he took it to his room for an hour. When Reb Handel passed by, he heard again sobbing and crying. At the end of the third day, Reb Handel didn't want to bother him, didn't want to push it. After the third day, Reb Handel started again the conversation. Tell me where you're from, what you are. He says, I was years ago, I studied in yeshiva, but I abandoned it all. I left everything of Judaism, gone, as far as possible. I married a Gentile woman, totally not part of the Jewish people. And I'm an artist. This is my life. Then you come to the show. I saw your art. I met you, a Hasidic Jew. I remember, where I came from. It didn't make me much. Then I saw we walked back to the hotel. You're in the same hotel as me. And in the morning, the first day, when I'm passing by your room, I hear you were praying. I haven't heard the words of prayer in a long time. And it so took me, your prayer. It shook me up. It brought back all my memories of where I come from, who my family is, what I was, that I had to pray myself. And he told Rabbi Hendel Lieberman, he says, I want to become a Jew again. And Rabbi Hendel Lieberman encouraged him, gave him the strength. And that's it, they said goodbye. 2 months later, Rabbi Hendel Lieberman read in one of these art publications that this fellow passed away. And he was thinking that the Rebbe sent him to an art show. He thought the Rebbe sent him to an art show so he can make more parnasah, make a bigger living, have a bigger market to sell his art to. But then he realized the Rebbe sent him to the show and directed him specifically, don't stay in the hotel. He put him in the hotel, told him stay in the next hotel where this Jew was staying. So a fellow Jew could find his way back to Judaism. And who knows how far he went, but he definitely passed away. A person who his mind was comfortable again with being proud of being a Jew. That's one story I wanted to share, which is really what the Rebbe's hallmark was, is to reach out to every Jew. No Jew was untouched, and to try to involve others. Just another story. There was a prominent family in South Africa, prominent Jewish family in South Africa, that the daughter sort of left, got involved in a cult, and they called the shaliach who was there to say, please, can you help us? And the shaliach slowly worked his way in to finally meet this girl under under various types of agendas that were non-threatening. And they finally reached the girl and had a chance to talk. And little by little, they sort of got the girl back, willing to come back to a Jewish life. And she came back to Jewish life. She became observant again. A Balas Tshuva, full Balas Tshuva. Then, as she was becoming more religious, she met a young man. And they were very happy. They were planning to get married. And then this shliach met this man, and the man opened up to the shliach, and he said, I come from a very secular family. My father's father was a great rabbi in Poland, but my father is very secular. He's so secular that he told me when I get married, he's not even coming to my chuppah. He doesn't believe in that stuff. That's how secular he became. And I feel terrible. I want my father to be there, but he doesn't want to be by the chuppah. He'll come to the reception, but not to the chuppah. So the shliach was thinking what to do. It bothered the girl, it bothered the boy, they're getting married according to the Torah way, and the father doesn't want to come to the chuppah. So they wrote to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe was driving to the Ohel. The Rebbe was reading the letter. And the Rebbe told his secretary who was driving him to right away tell the shliach that the boy should tell the shliach that this couple is getting married on the 14th of Kislev. The 14th of Kislev is the day the Rebbe got married with the Rebbetzin. And he said, I want you to tell the boy, to tell his father. I seen the name, the Rebbe understood. To tell the boy, to tell his father, that this boy's grandfather, who's a great rabbi in Poland, was by the Rebbe's wedding. The Rebbe's wedding was in Warsaw. Was by the Rebbe's wedding on that night, 14th of Kislev, 1928. And he rejoiced with the Rebbe's wedding and how special it is that his grandson is getting married on the same night that the Rebbe got married. And the boy spoke, but didn't move the father. He told the father what the Rebbe said, didn't move the father. Anyway, they came to the wedding. The father stayed in the reception hall. They were by the chuppah, but they made a hookup from the chuppah to reception. At least the father will be able to hear the chuppah. And in the middle of the chuppah, the father, sitting in the reception hall almost alone, broke down crying, sobbing. Couldn't stop crying. Couldn't stop crying. Even when they came back to the hall, he hid in a corner. He just couldn't stop crying. The groom saw his father. Sees his father's face is red from crying. Says, "Father, what's wrong?" His father said, "My father, when I heard the chuppah happening, it brought back everything of my past. It was like a wall I had blocking me from the past. My father wanted me to be a rabbi, but I didn't make him proud. I wasn't a rabbi. But I'm sure my father is proud that his grandson is marrying the religious way under the chuppah." At that moment, his father had an incredible change of attitude, change in his heart towards his Judaism, his religion. But the Rebbe took the time to just point out to a young couple getting married, another young couple, but to try to connect them to their heritage, to this boy's grandfather was a great rabbi, and through that touch the father of the boy. And this is what the Rebbe did every day. The miracles weren't about necessarily only people couldn't have children, had children, and other incredible stories of miracles, which happened many, many, many. The miracles were how the Rebbe believed that every Jew is a miracle, that every Jew is a full story, a full book. Every Jew is the most precious thing to Hashem. And the Rebbe looked at every Jew in that way and took his time for every single Jew to reach out, to build up, to lift up, and to help them, guide them towards, and I finished with one story. There was a fellow who became very active in Chabad in England. And when he met the Rebbe the first time, he was 21 years old. And the Rebbe told him, a 21-year-old who was studying in London, I think it's called London College. It's called London College. It has many campuses, right, David? London College has many campuses. It's called London College.
Sorry, I'm muted here. Sylvia would know.
Yeah.
I think London College has many campuses. King's Campus, this campus, that it has many campuses.
King's College.
Yeah, they're spread out.
King's College. It's very spread out. So the Rebbe told him, how is things for Jewish life? So he said, not much. The Rebbe said, is there kosher food? He said, no. They're building over the Hillel house. It'll take another 10 months to a year. There's no kosher food. The Rebbe said, no kosher food. So many Jewish students, no kosher food. Why don't you make available kosher food? So he told the Rebbe, we'll get a place, we'll make kosher food available, we'll make classes, we'll make programs. He said, no, stop here. I didn't tell you to do all this. All I want you to do, this young 20-year-old guy, all I want you to do is to start a food service that people can get kosher food. And when a Jewish boy or girl sits down to eat, because they order kosher food, they're going to sit down next to another Jewish boy or girl and have a chance to mix with Jews and hopefully marry a Jew and not fall into intermarriage and assimilation that's so constant. And the Rebbe spoke to him in detail that London College, because it's so spread out, this is the perfect, ideal thing to do. You don't need one space. It's more about a kosher service. And here's a young 20-year-old boy who started to get a little close to Chabad and the Chabad. And how the Rebbe turned the 21-year-old boy into an activist, a very focused. Let's do something that's doable. And he said that the kosher service that they started were hundreds and hundreds of students. They kosher went on for years. And who knows how many Jewish marriages came out because Jews were sitting with Jews when they were eating. They're just mixing all over. And this is what the Rebbe this is the greatest miracle of the Rebbe for us. that the Rebbe was a leader for every one of us. The Rebbe was a father, a leader, cared about everyone, made everyone feel that they are needed and counted on. And it's true, we all need and counted on by Hashem. So may Hashem help that on this day, the Rebbe still continues to lead from on high, and the Rebbe will continue to lead us and inspire us and direct us to see the greatness that lies within each of us, and to see the greatness that lies within every fellow Jew, that we have the opportunity to, like we spoke today, to create a nuclear reaction. I want to wish everyone a Shavuot Tov. May we merit very quickly the coming of Mashiach, very quickly in our days. We're going to sing Al Yonavi, and I want to say, because Shabbos is still going to be later the next few weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to take a few week break from the Havdalla and the Friday. It's getting nice outside. Many people are outside during that time, and we'll resume sometime soon. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch about that. But our hearts and our souls are always together, and may we and we'll make sure we wish each one of you personally a Shabbos, a good Shabbos before Shabbos, and we should only have beautiful things. And I hope all of you are going to either come in person tomorrow or join by Zoom if you can't come in person. Second best tomorrow morning for our day of connection. Exactly. Everything will be very safe and will be very special, and the camaraderie. Exactly. All the beautiful things. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Atishbi, Eliyahu Agilati b'meheira yavo eleinu. Imashiyah ben David, b'meira yavai eleinu. Imashiyah ben David, Imashiyah ben David. As an intimate group, I want to tell you that God willing, hold the date August 27th. We are going to Bli Neder, with God's help, make a mega Shabbat. We are there already. The end of the summer, we're going to make a mega Shabbat. We're going to be following everything as the protocol. It won't be as big as other years, but we're going to make a mega Shabbat. We are back, and we're going to be back stronger and better than ever.
Amen.
Be well. We love you all.
Shavuot Tov, everyone.
Shavuot
Shabbat
Tov.
Tov, everyone. Ciao.
Ellie, Lillian, Shavuot Tov,
Shavuot
Sharon,
Tov.
Shabbat Tov.
Samantha, Sylvia,
Be well. Take care.
And it was so nice seeing you today.
yes,
Very nice seeing you guys today
yes,
too.
great.
And I look forward to seeing you every Shabbat.
Definitely.
Great, be well, thanks.
Ellie and Lillian, great seeing
Bye-bye.
you.
Shavuot
Thank
Tov,
you.
Shabbat Tov.
I love you.
Good night, everyone.
Shavuot Tov.
Huh?
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.